Welcome to the Chemically Dope podcast by AIChE-VIT, where we students collaborate, learn, and contribute to the field of chemical engineering. This is our team Ganesh, my co host, and myself Tejas Kanda. Today, we have a distinguished guest, Dr. Barath Babarao. He completed his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from Annamala University and pursued both his master's and PhD from Tennessee Technological University. Currently, he is the vice president of Barnard Energy Company, where he leads operations and advancements in the renewable energy domain. Today, Dr. Barath Babra will guide us through an insightful session on career pathways in renewable energy. It's a pleasure to welcome you, sir. Ganesh will take over.
Thank you.
Hello,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for joining us today here. So, our first question on this topic is could you throw some light on what are some of the most exciting and rapidly growing career roles in renewable energy sector, both in India and global as well?
Uh, before going into any of that, first of all, thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys having me. Second, what I have to say here is my personal opinion. It's not the opinion of an organization per se, or any of the current or the previous organizations that I've been a part of. Renewable energy is in a great spot right now. It's been growing the last several years, especially in the last decade or so. There's been a phenomenal growth, and then recently, the geopolitical situations and the way the governments are looking at the renewable energy sector has only helped. So yes, there are multiple roles that are out there that are very exciting. And talking about where we are right now, I'll start with maybe differentiating it in five different areas. Maybe first one is let me think in terms of technology development. So I'll go from technology. There are so much work in terms of R&D, in terms of technology development in the renewable energy sector. For instance, wind turbines. Right now, it feels like okay, it's been there for several decades right now, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of continuous improvement of the existing turbine, as well as turbines and components, and as well as developing something new. Um, Manufacturing processes are out there. Every single technology that you developed eventually have to come into manufacturing part of the cycle. So because of that, there's going to be a lot of work. There is a lot of work currently in the manufacturing sector, whether it is the OEM part of it, original equipment manufacturer, where they're manufacturing the turbine, or the components that are going to the turbines, or the PV voltaic cells, or anything for that matter, geothermal, biofuel, all those areas has a lot of manufacturing that is out there. So there's a lot of work in manufacturing sectors. And then once you have the technology and the manufacturing work, then you're talking about construction and installation. The construction installation of these renewable energy assets are very, very challenging. And wind has its own challenges, solar has its own, and other areas has its own as well. And there are certain roles in that particular area that are crucial as well. Then as you finish your construction, then you go to maintenance and services of this equipment, and that requires specific roles like site managers, field technicians, and people who are out there actually putting their hands on the tools to make it work. From a role naming standpoint, technology R&D, you will have specialist roles, you will have scientist roles, you will have technical um, analyst roles. Manufacturing, you're talking about on the floor roles, and manufacturing, leading operations, engineering, optimization roles. Construction, we are always looking for project and field engineers, wind technicians, operators, project managers. In maintenance, you're looking for, like I said, site managers and field technicians. And this is all in the technical side of things. There are other roles such as the energy consultants, uh, policy and regulatory guys, power systems. All those things are crucial as well. Like I said, it's in an exciting phase. Um, there's a lot of roles that are going to be in the future. There's a lot of roles that are currently in there, and there is a shortage of work force across the world who has the ability to do the work at high quality.
I think there is a very diverse roles between science and technology. Many roles are available both in consultation as well as in the science and
Yes,
technology aspect in the renewable energy sector.
yes, absolutely.
So, to continue with that, I would like to ask a question. So, with the renewable energy booming, what are the opportunities do you see for career growth in renewable energy in the long run, say some 10, 20 years?
That's a good question. What's going to happen in 10, 20 years is very easy to predict in terms of renewable energy, but in terms of um, geopolitical situations and where the government funding goes and all those things are going to be up to the politicians, up to the other factors that govern these things. But as far as roles, let's stick to that. Um, from an R&D standpoint, there's always going to be role in continuous improvement of the existing technology, as well as development of systems, power generation systems, with new evolving technology like AI driven technology, automation, robotics, and things like that. So there's going to be work in R&D for sure. There's going to be specialist roles in green hydrogen, offshore wind, um, wave energy, transportation, offshore wind vessels, advanced battery and storage. There's going to be specialist roles there, so I'm excited for that. Field technicians, there will be a very, very high demand for people who are hands on, people who have the ability to analyze the issue on the field, take a tool, and fix it there as well. With advances in computation and the ease of the, how do we say, financial success, for people who can sit in front of computers and do some coding and things like that. I'm not minimalizing their work. Their work is very important, but more and more people are going towards that because it's physically less demanding. So as people move in that direction, there's going to be a demand for people who are actually hands-on and get their hands dirty and do the work on the field. And with the combination of computational advances and the hands-on real experience, those people will be very, very valuable. There's going to be work in education and training. There's going to be work in definitely there's going to be work in safety and quality. I'm excited for that because if you take the recent development across the uh, OEMs, original equipment manufacturers for wind or solar or other people, quality has been a big, big issue. The technology is advancing so fast, but the quality of the product that is being delivered to the customer are not as good, and because of that, they are having issues once the products are out there and it's on the field. So safety and quality is going to be an important function, and obviously there's going to be work on leadership and management, senior roles in project management, energy policy, sustainability leadership. All those things are crucial, and you will have plenty of roles in that area. And I'm excited for that.
That's really interesting to know, sir. So, as you had mentioned that technology also plays an integral part in finding jobs in the renewable energy sector, could you just throw some light on how the advancement in technologies have reformed the renewable energy sector as a whole in terms of jobs and overall development as well? Could you throw some information on that? We really like to hear.
Sure, sure. Technology advancements in, let me understand your question correctly first. So you're asking what are the technology advancement in, what are the impact of technology advancement in jobs as well as overall development, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. How
Okay.
technology has
Okay.
affected the renewable energy sectors in jobs and
Got it. Let me add the job things first, if that's okay.
yeah,
Um, so technology advancement, it's like I was saying earlier, technology advancement has made our job a little bit different. I'll give you, for instance, um, for an R&D person who used to review literature. I'm not an R&D anymore, but I know how it works. For an R&D person who used to review literature, you got to go and sit in the library and start pulling documentation and start putting things together in a document yourself, and then reach out to other libraries where you do not have the publications and talk to them about it, and put a compressed document eventually and then review it. It's not the same anymore, right? So you have a PDF summarizer where instead of reading the whole document yourself, you're going to get the summary, and then if the summary is really interesting, then you go into the document and dig into the details. So the amount of time that you used to spend is now divided into multiple tasks, and it's fraction of what it used to be. So with that example, I'm my assumption, and this is something that I am seeing, is that technology advancement will recalibrate existing roles. A project manager who used to work in one way, say 3 years ago, will probably have to recalibrate the way he's doing or she's doing the work now because of the technology advancement. A wind technician who is in the tower up there using a tool in the nacelle used to think about it differently 10 years ago versus what it is right now. So it will recalibrate, and that actually is good because you're going to talk in terms of efficiency. How can I use the time efficiently and effectively to get the work done? The work focus will move towards results and impact as opposed to the processes immediately, because this process is going to change, and then you have to have the ability to be open-minded and adapt to the process changes to make sure that you're not leaving the eyes off the target, which is the impact and the results. There will be new roles for sure. Um, Development of advanced technologies always create a demand for specialized skills. We talked about multidisciplinary skills earlier. A person who has the ability to understand the process, understand the data, to understand the analytics, and also have the ability to be hands on. That's going to be crucial. And then there's going to be areas where, for instance, uh, green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is a great combination of renewable energy and chemical energy, specifically chemical engineering. So you need to have multidisciplinary skill set where you have the electrical engineers from the power system, the mechanical engineers for the manufacturing and the building of the components, and the OEMs and the manufacturing aspect of it, and the chemical engineer who's going to take the green hydrogen from the power and the hydrolysis units. So multidisciplinary skill sets are crucial, and from a uh, standpoint of execution, cross disciplinary roles are going to be crucial as well. You're talking about project managers who has the ability to go and see what's on the field versus what's on the components in the wind energy sector, versus what's going on up tower versus down tower. You have the ability to talk about technical details to the guys who are actually doing the work on the field. So the cross disciplinary roles are crucial. Does that answer your question on the jobs?
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
Okay. And think your second question is, what are the technology advancements in the overall development, right?
Yeah.
Um, the overall development in this, it's a exhausting um, area. You cannot just talk about that in like few minutes, but to summarize, what I would say is uh, the world is going towards um, reducing waste, correct? And that's true in renewable energy as well. So one of the key things that we need to work on is increased energy efficiency. Smart grids, um, AI based forecasting of energy, reduction of energy waste due to efficiency drops, things like that are crucial. Manufacturing processes are crucial as well. Like I was saying earlier, the quality is an important element. So the manufacturing process advances because of the technology advancement, and reduction of cost and schedule. Um, that would be great. Um, Energy storage, batteries are doing great right now. I think we are talking about 4 hours of storage right now as the state of the art, and we have to go beyond that and have the ability to store for a longer period of time. So the technology, battery technology, will get advanced. um, Recycling and repurposing of the components that are coming from um, other technology, not just wind. Wind has a lot of it because when you take the blades are going down. There's composites. We need to do a better job in recycling and repurposing that. And Also interesting technology developments I'm expecting from the area of energy sharing, the way individual uh, people will start to generate their own energy and have the ability to put it back in the grid, and then share energy with the team, whether it's the government, whether it's the local privatized public privatized sector for power, or neighbors, for instance, has the ability to do that. That'd be an important area. It'll be more interesting and fun area of development.
Well, that's nice to know from you.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll take over. So that's nice to know from you. You really put together it in a very simple way. So that you were speaking about reducing the waste and creating something out of it. Can you just tell me what are the real life encounters in day to day life in renewable energy in terms of waste management and resource development?
Sure. I mean, it's waste management is a long, it's a big topic, exhaustive topic as well on my mind. There is Prior to this job, I was in an area of waste to energy, where we actually took the waste from the municipal waste, the sludge, and we also took the waste from agricultural waste, the cotton stalks and things like that, and manufactured uh, pellets, and those pellets were used for making energy from using downdraft gasification process. It was an exciting role, and in the exposure of that role, that's how I understood the waste chain and how massive the waste chain is. To go into the waste chain and understand and make energy out of it is a big deal, and people are doing that right now. There's multiple organizations doing that, and I'm so excited for that because it's truly cleaning up, right, the mess that we've created to this earth, and it's helpful to go and do that. As far as renewable energy waste, I'll probably give you an example of two in renewable energy waste management and resource management you mentioned. Waste management in wind, I cannot get into the other areas, but wind, like I was mentioning earlier, every single um, wind turbine is big is old by the amount of age that is it's operated. So, for instance, with a actually a factor of one or two, a 2 year old wind turbine is actually 4 years old, or the other way around as well, where a 4 year old wind turbine is actually 8 years old. The reason why I'm saying that is the technology is advancing so fast that the the physical unit is aging faster because the technology that's advanced technology is waiting. So all those wind turbines will be repowered or redone in some form or fashion, whether it's green or fully repowered or partially repowered in terms of components. These waste need to be managed well, and one of the ways that we are actually dealing with as an industry is blade. The blade wind turbine composite that are in the blades need to be recycled well. There's thousands of blades that are hanging out there in landfills that needs to be removed and repurposed and recycled in different forms. And there are really good companies that are working on this. Same thing with components and in solar and other areas as well. One of the things that we keep telling to our teams in the previous jobs and current ones is to use your resources effectively, whether it's tools, whether it's um, the OEM supplies, whether it's the roads that you're actually using to take the components from one turbine pad to another pad. Use your resources effectively because you don't want to put waste out there and create um, a chain that is opposite to what you're trying to do in the green energy sector.
That is really good to know, sir. With nowadays a lot of entrepreneurship becoming very famous, What role do generally startup and entrepreneurial ventures play in shaping the renewable energy job market? And how can they, or how can aspiring entrepreneurs who are interested can contribute to the sector of overall sector of renewable energy? Can you throw some light on that?
So you want me to address the startup, correct? Startup
Yeah,
specifically for
startup
startup.
ventures and yeah,
Okay. So there is so much in startup. There is overall. First of all, the mark the basic thing that comes to my mind as you talk about startup is there is a group of people um, who are really in the startup world who think that if you have an idea, that's good. That's good. That's all you need to start the business. Yes, you need an idea to start anything. Absolutely, you need the seed, but that's where it actually starts, and there's a lot more to after that. So it's not like, oh, I got the idea and I'm going to go take over the market. If that is the case, then there will be like so many startups out there were successful. There's a lot more failure in startups than success, and for that reason is it's not just an idea, it's much beyond, much more than an idea. So as far as steps to get started as an entrepreneur, and I cannot answer that because I'm not a startup guy. I used to work for organizations that are startups, so I don't have the experience from a I've done this. I've succeeded in a startup, but I can, from based on my experience, and I can tell you what I've learned. Um, you have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to research the market. You have to understand the market, and you have to diligently get into the details of the market and understand where the gaps are. And once you understand where the gaps, then there is going to be a marriage between the gaps in the market and your skill set and what your idea. So you got to combine that together and find the idea where you're actually adding value to the market. And if you're a product based company, and let's say that you're developing a new component that goes into a solar farm or a wind farm, then you have to build a prototype. You got to go and build a prototype and make sure that that prototype is not addressing to be perfect, but it's actually functional prototype. You don't want a perfect prototype, you want a functional prototype. And once you have a prototype, you have to validate your idea, and this is where you need to get into testing it with potential customers, gathering feedback and things like that. Then comes the really, really difficult part where you secure funding. This is where what you think is value versus what market thinks is value come into play. So it's not an easy thing to secure funding, because you may think that this is the best idea in the world and I'm going to go and take over the market. The market also needs that, but the amount of financial returns for the people who are going to eventually invest in this idea, they might think otherwise. They just said, no, I don't think this idea is valuable. So securing funding, in approaching the investors, the grants, crowdsource, all those things are crucial. So there's specific skill set that it's needed for that. Forming a team after that is crucial. You have to put the experts together, put your team together, put um, your support system together, and then obviously you have to launch and sustain. Um, Overall, I would say startup. You have to start early. You have to stay curious. You have to learn to fail gracefully. You have to stay persistent and get your hands dirty. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to get into the details of it. You have to be detailed about it, and be humble and confident at the same time. It's a it's a good balance. And I mean, overall, you have to be a lifelong learner. That doesn't stop whether you're a startup or not startup. So you have to be a lifelong learner.
so it's basically an intricate process having a lot of soft skills involved, starting from ideation, research, followed by bridging the gaps, which is required. That's quite really long process, and that's interesting to
Yes,
know. And it is glad to see that many people are interested towards, many startups are interested towards contributing to the
absolutely.
renewable job market. So that marks the end of another episode of Complito podcast. I thank all the listeners for tuning in, and I hope you got valuable insights from our speaker. Finally, a huge thanks to you, sir, for taking time out to your busy schedule and joining us here. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the session. It was really insightful to know the job careers and opportunities in the renewable sector as a whole. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much, sir. Thank you.
Bye bye.